My life hack of achieving any major goal in your life, whatever it is, here's the secret of doing it. Just do the next best 3 things. That's it, no more and no less. Ask yourself, what are the next 3 things you need to do right now to get a step closer to your goal, whatever it is? Now, it could be your first apartment building, but it could be any major goal. Write them down right now. My road to financial freedom has been rocky, to say the least. I kind of consider myself the crash test dummy of financial freedom because I've tried everything from software startups, restaurants, and trading options to flipping houses, landlording, and apartments, all in pursuit of financial freedom. So I made a ton of money with software, lost it all with restaurants, and clawed my way back with real estate. But like so many people, I did it with single family houses. In my case, with flipping. So I flipped 3 dozen houses and bought my first apartment building and was making good money. But I realized that while I was making money with the houses, it was a ton of work. So in 2011, I bought my first apartment building somewhat by accident. That first deal was a nightmare. And I'll save that story for another time. But after about a year, it started sending me mailbox money every single month. And so I decided to focus on apartments, which proved to be the best road to financial freedom for me, but also so many others since then. Now, of all the stuff I've done to become financially free, let me tell you, apartment investing is the most learnable, repeatable, and fastest way to financial freedom than any other way. Now, while I continue to expand my own portfolio through my investment company, Nighthawk Equity, we actually currently own about $350 million in multifamily real estate. What's more exciting to me is helping others do their first deal and become financial free. That's exciting to me. Now, today, we've helped people purchase 41,000 multifamily units valued at $1.4 billion through our content and training programs such as this. And so therefore, after working with hundreds of people from all walks of life, I'm now convinced of these truths. Truth number 1 is that single family house investing will not make you financial free. The only way to become financial free with real estate is by investing in apartment buildings. Truth number 2, you don't need previous real estate investing experience or a bunch of money saved to get started with investing in apartment. And truth number 3, you only need 1 apartment building deal to become financial free, and that is due to the unusual law of the first deal that I wrote my book around as well. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, Michael, that's great, but tell me, how do I do my first apartment deal without experience or a bunch of cash in the bank? The Dealmaker Blueprint to your first deal. So in order to do your first apartment building deal and reach your ultimate destination of financial freedom, you need a step-by-step guide. You need a map to get there. And that roadmap is the Dealmaker Blueprint. It's our proven system to become financial free with multifamily syndications in 1 to 3 years, even without experience or cash. The Dealmaker Blueprint guides you on the journey from getting started with your apartment buildings to closing your first deal, to becoming financially free, growing and scaling your portfolio, building generational wealth, and leaving a legacy. So this step-by-step roadmap I'm about to share with you has worked for me and hundreds of others who have come before you, and it will work for you as well. So here are the steps of Dealmaker Blueprint, your first deal that we'll unpack step-by-step in the coming chapters. Step number 1 is to clarify your vision. Step number 2, get connected. 3, get the skills. 4, work the system. 5, build your pipeline. 6, close the deal. And 7, is to achieve financial freedom. So let's get started with the first step in the Dealmaker Blueprint, which is to clarify your vision of where you want to go. As the Cheshire Cat tells Alice in Wonderland, if you don't know where you're going, any road can take you there. But then he also adds, well, some go this way and some go that way. But as for me, myself personally, I prefer the shortcut. Well, if you prefer the shortcut as well, you're gonna need 2 things. 1 is you need a clear vision of what financial freedom looks like and why it's important to you. And then you need a step-by-step map to reach your destination, which is the Dealmaker Blueprint. That's your map. And we're going to get into that in more detail in the remainder of this book. Now, in order to develop a clear vision of your destination, start by answering the question, why is financial freedom important to you? Now, you might answer, so that I can quit my job, and that's pretty cool. That may be a good first response, but it's not a strong why. To get closer to the real why, ask the follow-up question, and why is that important to you? Now, you might respond with, so that I can do whatever I want, whenever I want. So that's cool. Ask again, why is that important to you? And keep asking that question until you get to the heart of the matter of why financial freedom is really important to you. Now, one more hint, the more your why is about others, the stronger it's going to be. And that's because if you fail in achieving your mission, you're not just going to let yourself down, you're going to let others down. And this can be a very strong motivator when you're facing challenges and you're thinking of quitting. So spend some time on this exercise in quiet reflection so that you become clear about why achieving your mission becomes so important that you cannot afford to fail. Failure would be unacceptable. That's where you want to go. So the stronger your why, the higher the probability of success. The more real it's for you, the more emotional, the better. Now, next, visualize. You've answered your why. Visualize what financial freedom might look like. So imagine that you decided to invest in your education and learn all about raising money and buying apartment buildings. Cool. Now you met a money partner at a real estate conference and together you close your first deal and you're splitting a $120,000 acquisition fee check. And you're splitting $10,000 per month in passive income, which is a real thing, by the way. By the time you closed that deal, you had your second deal under contract, through the law of the first deal, and then you decide to quit your job and become a full-time investor. And all that happened in 12 months only because you decided to move forward and you committed to the journey. Now just imagine your last day of work. Just imagine your last day of work. Your coworkers are amazed and maybe a bit jealous. Your spouse and kids are excited because you're able to spend more time with them. How do you feel on this day? Like, close your eyes. How does it make you feel? And then think about, what are you going to do with your new time freedom? You're at home at 2:30 in the afternoon on a Wednesday. Your wife's like, what are you doing here? Right? Now, how are you going to spend your time with whom? So really close your eyes and visualize all of these things. Like, write everything down. Create a vision board if you find that helpful. Some do. And then share your vision with others. And so now that you've clarified your vision, it's time to connect with people who can help you achieve it. Step number 2, get connected. Being a real estate entrepreneur seeking your first apartment building can be a lonely sport. So you may not have a single friend or family member who has done what you want to do. In fact, many of them, possibly even your spouse, think you're kind of crazy and they're really doing nothing to encourage you on your journey. So who are you going to turn to when you have a question or you're facing a challenge, some delay or setback? The solution to this problem and a critical key to success is to get connected with people who can help you achieve your goals. Now, there's 4 types of people who can support you, and you need to connect with them. Number 1 is your spouse. Number 2 is a community of like-minded entrepreneurs. And number 3 is an accountability partner. And number 4 is an experienced coach, mentor, or advisor. So let's talk about connecting with your spouse here. And I've observed that people who have the support of their spouse are more successful in their journey to financial freedom than others who do not. Now, I'm not saying your spouse needs to be in the business themselves, but they should be supportive. At a minimum, they should be involved in your decision to become financially free with real estate because it affects the future of your family. In fact, it's even better to involve your children and let them know what you're doing and why. Now, while it's not always possible to get the support of your friends and extended family, it's important to get the support of your spouse. Community of like-minded entrepreneurs. On good days, you want to share your successes with someone. On bad days, you need someone to tell you that it's going to be okay, that it's all worthwhile, and to just keep going. Now, the truth is not many people around you really understand what you're going through, especially your friends and family. That's why you need to seek out a community of like-minded entrepreneurs who want similar things. They want to experience similar challenges or go through different challenges and can support each other. Now, this community of like-minded entrepreneurs could be larger community like a Facebook group or a smaller mastermind group. These groups could be free or paid. You can join an existing one or you can create one yourself. Now, our community of deal makers hangs out in our free but private Facebook group. You can go to themichaelblank.com/group to access our Facebook group. And there, there's this community of deal makers that really support each other on our journey to financial freedom. So that might be a great place to head next. And regardless of whether the community is paid or unpaid, in person or virtual, you must be part of a community like this, of like-minded people to ensure you stay on track. Now, speaking of staying on track, let's talk about your accountability partner. It's a proven fact that for every 100 people who attend a seminar, 90 of them won't implement anything they've learned, even if it's magical and life-changing. So therefore, the vast majority of people never implement anything. And if you're one of those vast majority who don't naturally stick with something after they start it, you'll need an accountability partner, someone who will encourage you and keep you accountable. Now, this person could be your spouse, could be a friend, or it could be someone you pay like a coach or mentor. But regardless who they are, they have to be encouraging, number 1, but they should also be able to challenge you when you're not staying on track. So top athletes have coaches, right? Top actors have coaches. Even the most successful business people and CEOs have coaches. Now, do you have a coach, mentor, advisor? Right? Good advisors what they have is that these are seasoned veterans. They've achieved what you're trying to achieve, financial freedom. Now, advisors can help you accelerate the results you're after and avoid the bigger mistakes along the way. That's their value. And without an advisor, you're going to struggle. You can certainly do the do-it-yourself approach, but you're going to struggle to achieve your goals. It's going to take longer, and it's going to take a lot more time, and you're going to make bigger mistakes. You're going to encounter situations that you've never seen, and an advisor can help you navigate those waters. You can recruit a volunteer advisor who agrees to meet you for lunch every so often and answer your questions. But many times, you're not going to get the kind of support you need from unpaid advisors, especially when you have a live deal, when you need a lot of time and things have to be done very quickly. Now, if you value mentorship and you feel like working with a full-time syndicator would accelerate your goals and help you avoid expensive mistakes, then consider working with us. We'd love to work with you around this. We have the only mentoring program that guarantees you'll do your first deal in 12 months. So to have a conversation with us and see if working with us is right for you, go to themichaelblank.com/call and just book a call. It's a no obligation call, but it might be very good for you to get clarity around whether apartment buildings is the right for you. Now, one of the main reasons people quit their pursuit of financial freedom is because they didn't connect with people who can support them. Okay, so the solution is to connect. This is why I have this step. Connect with your spouse, find an accountability partner, join a community of like-minded people, and find an experienced mentor or coach. And if you follow the steps, your chances of success are going to skyrocket. Step number 3, get the skills. So step number 3 is to get the skills, and that is about developing the minimal skill set and confidence without sounding like a newbie. Now, when you complete this step, you're going to appear like a much more seasoned multifamily investor, even if you don't have years of experience. And so this is really the key to overcoming your lack of experience or track record, and that is one of them. The other one is to build your team, which we'll talk about in a second. But getting the skills is really step number 1. So here's what you should do week by week. Week number 1 is to educate yourself so you don't sound like a newbie. That's what you're going to do. You educate yourself. The problem is that most people don't know where to get started with apartment building, and they lack the knowledge to do certain things. They don't have the scripts and tools to get them started. They don't know how to talk to brokers, how to analyze deals, how to select the market, and you can learn all that in this step. It's a very learnable thing. And there's multiple programs out there that teach apartment building investing. In fact, you can probably scour my YouTube video, etc. But our system is the Dealmaker Blueprint. That's what you're in right now. It's the most direct route to buying apartment system, and we have other programs out there as well. In fact, we'd love to work with you, like I said earlier. But the point is in this first step, because I'm giving you kind of the steps here on success, is to find a program that resonates with you. And then make sure they have a system you can understand and following. And learning is important, but don't get stuck there. Knock it out in the first week. Ours is like 10 hours long. You'll know everything about syndications. And then you quickly move to week 2. So now that you completed your basic training in week 1, it's critical to become crystal clear about your first deal. Week number 2, clarify your first deal. All right, in this week, I want you to get really clear about your first deal. The problem is that most people skip this step and chase after deals without a clear picture of what a first deal looks like. Now, you're not going to do that, okay? Because if you skip this step, they're going to do a deal that's too small, or they'll pursue a deal that's too big, or they're in the wrong market, and then they fail to do a deal at all, or they do the wrong deal. So if we clearly define our first deal, on the other hand, it's going to allow us to visualize what that first deal is going to look like. And as a benefit, if we can visualize it, the more real it becomes. Well, and everything becomes visualization is very key. The more likely we're going to be able to achieve that critical goal along our path to financial freedom. So clarity is key with everything, and the first deal is no exception. Now, here's some guidance around your first deal. It should be both meaningful and achievable. Meaningful means that it should allow you to make measurable and meaningful progress towards your goal of financial freedom. So typically, that means it should be as big as possible. And achievable, though, means that it should be achievable in the next 6 to 12 months. So it can't be too big either. So what's meaningful and achievable means something different for everyone and requires an honest review of your goals and personal financial situation. So here's what I mean. Let's say your freedom number is $10,000 per month. That's your nut. That's the expenses you have. Then there's a higher chance you have some savings to invest with, and you maybe are more likely to know other people with money. So maybe with some effort, you might be able to raise $250,000. So your first deal could be maybe around $1 million. If, on the other hand, your freedom number is more like $4,000, you might have very limited savings and be less likely to know other high net worth individuals. And if that's you, then maybe a reasonable first deal might be a duplex or a fourplex. So if you pick a first deal that is not achievable, it's too big, you're likely going to give up, and that's bad. Pick a first deal that's not meaningful, it might take you too long to become financially free. So remember this, the best first deal is one that is both meaningful and achievable in the next 12 months. Find out what that means for you. Week number 3, analyze 5 deals to gain confidence. So this week, I want you to get a jump start on developing the skills to quickly and accurately analyze deals. Because once you analyze at least 5 deals, you no longer sound like a newbie. And you're able to make more offers more quickly and accurately, and your confidence level increases substantially. Now, if you can do that, brokers will return your phone call and investors will agree to meet with you. In order to analyze a deal, you need a good financial model to help you. Now, you can build your own spreadsheet like I did in 2006. Okay, it takes a long time, but you can search for one on the internet for sure, or you can purchase the syndicated deal analyzer. Just search for syndicated deal analyzer, you'll find it. It's the most often used syndicated deal analyzer. So anyway, the point is find one. Okay, I would say don't create one, just find one, and then make sure it's used for analyzing multifamily property, not rental property like houses, and includes purchase and exit assumptions in that it has the ability to create 10-year financial projections and incorporates investor returns because you're going to be using investors, and make sure the software is editable so that you can customize the model. So once you have a good financial model, it's time to get to work. So here's a few ways you can analyze deals. Number one, you can go on LoopNet. Go to loopnet.com, create a free account, search for multifamily properties in a particular area. There will not be a shortage of properties on LoopNet. Now, you may need to contact a broker to get the financials, so get those financials so you can plug it into your financial model. You can also go on the MLS on Realtor.com, where houses are listed, and you can find some small multifamily listings there as well. So in this step, it's quantity over quality. It's not as important right now to know what a good deal is, or even if it matches your first criteria. Find a deal, any deal, and analyze this. Do this 5 times. That's the goal this week. Week number 4, complete the sample deal package to raise money. The secret to raising money before you start making offers, which is critical before you make offers, is to create a sample deal package. Now, this document contains everything about a fictitious deal that you don't have, but includes photos, information about the building, financials, the business plan, projected financials, and returns. Now, you're going to use this sample deal package to speak with potential investors. You're going to use it to build credibility with other professionals that you're trying to recruit in your team, like brokers and lenders. And so the difference between a sample deal package and a real one is that all the information about the deal package is accurate. So photos, location, financials, but you don't have it under contract, okay? The other difference is that your fictitious purchase price may be lower than the asking price so that you achieve the desired returns for the investors. In other words, you approach your potential investors with a deal package that looks like the real thing. Now, you can create a sample deal package by finding a property that is being marketed for sale, like on LoopNet, like we talked about. The property should be about the same size in the same area that you're looking for in the previous step when you clarified your first deal. It should have a good marketing package. That's helpful. So it has good photos, financials, rent roll, unit mix, maybe some information about the area and demographics. That's also very helpful to have. There's a variety of websites that list apartment buildings for sale. Like I said earlier, LoopNet is a good source for them. And then just find a good one and then use that as a basis for your sample deal package. Now, once you have the sample deal package, okay, it's a conversation piece. Now you can actually start reaching out to potential investors. In the beginning, remember we said quantity over quality. It doesn't matter if a potential investor has money or not. You just want to practice speaking to people about investing in real estate. And remember to never leave a conversation without getting at least one other referral. If you do that, you'll never run out of people to speak with. Now, think about your mindset a little bit. So don't think about that you have to actually raise money, that you need to raise money. No. Instead, share your enthusiasm about apartment buildings. And then realize that people who have money to invest typically invest in the stock market, okay? But they have problems as well. The stock market, is volatile. It doesn't generate cash flow and you have to pay a bunch of taxes. You can help them with all these, quote, problems by educating them about investing in real estate syndications. Now, to learn more about raising capital, okay, and also to see an example of a sample deal package, I have another free ebook that you can download. It's called The Secret to Raising Money to Buy Your First Apartment Building. It's michaelblank.com/ebook. So if you want to learn more about raising capital specifically and see a completed sample deal package, just go to that and download it, and we'll deal with that topic of raising capital in more detail there. Week 5 and 6, build your team. Now, your success as an apartment building investor depends on the strength of your team. Okay, so don't worry about your lack of track record because you are not going to leverage yours. You're going to leverage that of your collective team. And the 2 most important team members on your team to recruit early on, like now, is a property manager and lender. Because your property manager is going to help you evaluate deals. They're going to help you buy deals during the offer process. They're also, of course, going to help you during due diligence. You're going to need a lender because you need to incorporate the potential loan terms into your underwriting. Everything from interest rates to other kind of terms and things of that nature. You need to know what requirements you need to meet to qualify for the loan so you can put the appropriate investor team together. Now, the biggest benefit of the team is that you can leverage your team's experience, collective experience, and their track record, which gives you much more confidence when speaking with brokers and investors. And the best way to find your team members is through referrals. Yes, can you search on the internet? Okay, that's fine. But I really like referrals better than any other method. In fact, you don't want just a referral either. You want someone who has done business with that person. Okay, they can personally vouch for them. And one of the best ways to get referrals is through your commercial real estate broker when you call them. Ask them for professionals they really like and they've done business with, best property managers, best lenders. In general, ask everyone you speak with for a referral. I'm big on referrals. So if you're speaking to a broker, ask for them to refer you to a property manager. If you're speaking to a property manager, ask referral to an insurance agent and so on. So in the next 2 weeks, interview potential property managers and lenders, specifically the 2 most important members of your team. So congratulations, you educated yourself so you don't sound like a newbie. That's good. You clarified your first deal, increased your skills and confidence by learning to analyze deals. You created a sample deal package to raise money, and you recruited part of your team. You got a property manager and lenders on your team. So that's awesome because now you have the minimally viable skills and you've recruited your team so you can speak with brokers and investors with some level of confidence. And now you're ready to be released into the world as an apartment building entrepreneur. Now it's time to work the system. And that is step number 4, which is to work the system. Now, in the previous steps, you developed your critical skills and increase your confidence so you're ready to contact brokers and investors without sounding like, well, a complete idiot. The next step, which is work the system, this step is more about action, less about outcome. I remember said earlier about quantity over quality. It's more about action and less about outcome. And what's most important in this step is consistent activity to create new habits and build more confidence. So this step is very simple. You're going to focus on 2 activities. Number 1, analyze deals. When I say analyze deals, I'm always talking about making a 10-minute offer, informal offers. And activity number 2, talk to potential investors. Let's look at each in more detail. Our activity number 1 is to analyze deals and make offers. So in order to continue building confidence and create a deal pipeline, you'll need to find and analyze deals. Maybe you set a goal to analyze 5 deals per week, which is 1 per day, but adjust this number based on how much time you have. The more the better, of course, because like any real estate investing, this is a numbers game. So when I say analyze 5 deals, that includes making an informal offer for each deal you analyze. So what I mean by that is you get back to the broker. I'm not telling you send a contract, an LOI. I'm saying you get back to the broker and you say, hey, this asking price won't work for me, and here's why. And here's a price that would work. Is there any flexibility? That's what I mean by what I call a 10-minute offer, an informal offer. You're always getting back to the realtor with some kind of feedback. Now remember in this step that consistency and persistence are key. Activity number 2, talk to potential investors. So in addition to analyzing deals to build a deal pipeline, you also want to build a pipeline of investors. Now, if you can get verbal commitments from investors before you get in a deal contract, that's ideal because now you can make offers with much more confidence. A reasonable goal is to meet with 1 potential investor per week. Now, in order to do that, in order to have that 1 meeting, you might need to maybe contact 5 potential investors. So you have to create maybe a mind map. Who are the different social groups that you're part of, neighbors, coworkers, Boy Scouts, church or whatever, and then start reaching out to each of those so you can have 1 meeting per week. And it's just like with the previous activity, consistency is key. Always contact and speak with potential investors. And once the relationship is ready, ask them for a meeting to discuss investing with you. And that's when you use the sample deal packages during that meeting. And of course, always get at least 1 referral. And during this step here, this next 30 days, don't be too concerned about outcome. Talk and meet with anyone who will give you the time of day, even if you know they have no money. It's about practicing and building confidence. Just do it. Consistency. So the work the system step is all about consistency. Little activity to build new habits and analyzing deals, making offers, talking with potential investors. That's what this is about. It's not about outcome yet. It's quantity over quality. So this means that you might be analyzing a deal you already know won't work. That's okay. Analyze it and make an offer anyway. Same thing for investors. Just meet with everyone who will give you the time of day and use it as an opportunity to practice. Right now, you're not looking for perfection. The key is taking a little bit of action each day. Don't overthink it. Just do it. Now, when you do this thing faithfully, work the system for 30 days without expecting results, you'll be amazed at how you'll actually start developing a pipeline of real deals and investors. Step number 5, build your pipeline. Now, I told you that the work the system step is all about activity, not so much about outcome. But if you do the work, you're going to get some outcome. Even without trying, you're going to get a pipeline of real deals and investors, and you're going to have your team on the ground ready to go. Now, the build your pipeline step is a little different because you're going to continue what you did before, analyze deals, make offers, but there is going to be, you're actually now looking for a real outcome, right? So you're going to focus more on results, to do an actual deal, and to raise real money from investors. So right now, and once you've done it for 30 days, you actually might pass on deals you already know are not going to work, and you may not talk to particular people you already know don't have money or can't actually give you referrals. So you're going to get a little more particular, focusing more on quality, and you're going to look for outcome. Now again, and I say this repeatedly, what's important in this step, just like the previous one, is that you need consistency. If I were to boil it down to the secret of success, that's it. Step number 6 is to close your first deal. So if you continue to consistently analyze deals, meet with investors, and build your team, you will develop a pipeline of deals, and you'll get commitments from investors. And once you have a pipeline of deals and investors, it's only a matter of time until you do your first deal. Now, there's a number of steps to close a deal, okay? Those are beyond the scope of this short little ebook or this training. And also, the other thing is that the steps are easily learned. And you have a team that's going to help you with all this closing mechanic stuff. And finally, the reason I'm not going to go into the tactics of closing a deal is because it's going to distract you from what I want you to remember. I want you to do a big picture of the deal maker blueprint. And I want you to remember one thing, and that is you can get started with apartment buildings right now. That's what I want you to remember. You can start right now. You don't need previous investing experience and a bunch of money in a bank. That's the message I want. Just follow the deal maker blueprint from a high level because these details can easily be learned and filled in with your team. Step number 7, achieve financial freedom. So regarding becoming financial free with real estate, what is the one lesson class? It is the one thing is clearly and undoubtedly doing your first deal. And that's because once you close your first deal, you trigger the law of the first deal, which I talk a lot about, which means your second and third deal are going to follow in rapid, almost automatic succession. Now, this phenomenon, the law of the first deal, makes the step the easiest of them all because there's nothing you have to do. You just have to let it happen. It just happens. It's like some magical switch in your universe is turned on and deals and money just come to you. It's difficult to explain, and you probably won't quite believe me or grasp a concept until it happens to you. So in the meantime, okay, take my word for it and maybe study the hundreds of people who are an example of a law of the first deal. Go to themichaelblank.com/wins, and there's like dozens of case studies of people who have literally talked about their first deal, and they talk about the law of the first deal a lot. So you can check that out. Now, the law is so universal and simple. Do your first deal, and you will become financially free. It's that simple. The 3 freedom accelerators. Now, it took me a long time to do my first multifamily deal. Like 6 years went by from the time I flipped my first house to doing my first apartment building deal because I was distracted by shiny objects. I flipped houses, got into restaurants, traded options for a while. It took me a long time to figure things out. I made a lot of mistakes and lost a whole bunch of money in the process. Today, I know that it takes the average person following Dealmaker Blueprint about 6 to 18 months to get their first deal under contract and 6 months to 3 years to become financially free. Now, you're saying, wait a minute, Michael, that's a pretty big range. Essentially 6 months to 3 years. Why the range? And more importantly, what can I do to quit my job in 6 months rather than 3 years? Now, the short answer is do what gazelles do. Gazelles are people who somehow figured out how to do bigger deals faster. In fact, gazelles get their first deal under contract in about 6 months, and the average deal size is $4 million. Here are some examples of gazelles. Ed Herbson got his first deal under contract, 22 units, took him just 3 months. Philip Schuligan, 6 months to get his first 80-unit building under contract. David Camara, right? He did 3 deals in the first 12 months. Crazy. Jeremy Lemire became financially free in 8 months after closing 2 deals in that time, a 28-unit and 8-unit. So what are these people doing, these gazelles, to get these kind of results? And more importantly, what can you learn? What can we all learn from them? And the answer is that they leverage what I call the 3 freedom accelerators to get their first deal under contract in as little as 6 months. Freedom accelerator number 1, follow the right system. When I took my first commercial real estate investing seminar in 2007, there was no system for buying apartment buildings. It took me many years and money lost to figure things out on my own. Now, the good news is today you can follow a proven system and you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Now, gazelles never do that. They never reinvent the wheel, and they follow the right system, which in our case is the Dealmaker Blueprint that gets them the results they want. Freedom accelerator number 2, get the right support. Now, another thing gazelles have in common is that they're consistent. And we talked about that a lot. And what I mean by that is they take tiny action each day. So for as long as it takes, they take tiny action every single day and they never stop taking action. But here's the thing. Even gazelles are human, right? So stepping something over long periods of time is hard for most people, even gazelles. And if you know someone who's tried to lose weight or quit smoking, you know what I'm talking about. Becoming financial free is similar. You have to do a little something every day and build new habits in order to stay consistent. And this is much easier said than done. So it helps to have people around you who support you, who encourage you, and perhaps even hold you accountable. We talked about that in the Get Connected step. Well, gazelles know this, and that's why they find the right support early on their journey. The support they look for is the kind that will keep them consistent, hold them accountable, but they also look for the kind of support when they get a live deal. Because even if you learn everything you need to know about apartment buildings, okay, each deal is going to be different. Every situation is different. You can't look in a reference book to help you with a specific situation about this foundation issue or this tenant or this property manager. You need access to someone with experience who can help you navigate the deal. So in order to stay consistent and get live deal support, gazelles join the right community and work with coaches and mentors. Now, if there's one thing I would advise my younger self, it would be to work with a mentor when I embark on any new journey that I do. Like when I became a full-time entrepreneur in 2005, I read a ton of books, 10 seminars. I learned about trading stock options, investing in residential commercial real estate, and then, of course, about how starting a business. And what I didn't do, though, is I didn't find an experienced mentor who can help me become successful with these strategies. Okay, sometimes I did, and sometimes I didn't. I just felt confident that I could figure things out on my own. I'm a smart guy. I can figure these things out. I had a bunch of money from a software IPO. So thinking I didn't need any help was my biggest mistake. Had I had a mentor, for example, when I got into the restaurant business, he would have advised me to ask questions that I never would have asked. For example, instead of just checking the references that I got from the franchisor, okay, those are all the top franchises who are crushing it, I should have asked to see the numbers from the average franchisee. Because had I done this, okay, I would have discovered that they weren't very profitable at all. They weren't having a good time. And this one piece of advice from a mentor would have slowed my decision to join the franchise. I wouldn't have done it at all. I would have chosen a different one. And the other one is not having, and this thing really cost me my IPO millions. That one mistake. Now, on the other hand, when I flipped houses, I had a mentor and I got 2 deals off my first postcard campaign. On the other hand, when I got into apartment building in 2011, I didn't have a mentor either. I had taken a real estate seminar in 2007. Okay, spent 9 months calling on brokers, cutting on my deal, cutting my teeth on it, but I didn't have someone who helped me with a very difficult situation in getting into that market. The building was in DC, which was very pro-tenant, and a mentor would have advised me not to go into DC. Well, why not? They would have explained how difficult it is to make money as a landlord in the District of Columbia, right? He would have advised me to get a property manager that specialized in Section 8 housing, which I didn't do, and that created 18 months of misery for me. So again, mentors are key, and my number one mistake I made is that I didn't need any help. And so gazelles know this, and they surround themselves with the people, specifically mentors, who can help them get ahead and avoid some of the big mistakes. Freedom Accelerator number 3, join the right network. Let me tell you the story about Andy Vaughn. He wanted to get started with apartment building investing, but he kind of had a big problem. The thought of spending even 10 minutes staring at a spreadsheet was like hell to him, right? Not his fault. He's just not a numbers guy, not his strength, right? His strength, he's a relationship guy. He knew how to network. He loved talking to new people. He loves playing golf. So as a result, he was very good at raising money because it was natural for him. And he had no trouble finding people to back his investments. But he did have the one problem, and that's he didn't have a deal to invest in. So what's he going to do? Well, he got connected with the right network, which the case was ours. And so we helped him connect with Seth Robinson, another student. Seth had found a great deal, but he couldn't raise all the money for it. He's kind of his complement. He was more of a deal finder, more analytical, not so much in a raising capital fund. So we put them together, and they successfully partnered on a 36 unit and raised $210,000. In the next 14 months, Andy completed 4 successful deals, all partnerships, joint ventures, in which he raised $760,000, and he loved it. But without a partnership, he probably wouldn't have done a single deal. Joint ventures like this are very common because they attract 2 different but complementary roles in a syndication. The role number 1 is the deal finder. Okay, this person, they find the deals by calling on brokers, analyze deals, making offers. This person loves spreadsheets, likes me. Now, they might not love talking to brokers. That kind of scares them, but becomes easier because they're talking about numbers, which is a strength of theirs. So it becomes easier and easier. They're detail-oriented, therefore they're going to be great at doing due diligence where attention to detail matters. So many deal finders have backgrounds in engineering or finance. Role number 2 is the capital raiser, and they're primarily responsible for raising money. So as a relationship person with a gift of gab, talking to strangers at networking events kind of comes naturally to them. They have a story for every situation. They make it easy for people to like them. And capital raisers tend to have some kind of sales background. As a result, they know how to close. They have a strong work ethic. They understand that sales is a numbers game that requires consistency. And so gazelles understand the power of partnerships, and they leverage that to close bigger deals faster. And this allows them to focus on their strengths, either finding deals or raising capital while partnering with someone who complements them. So the lesson is leverage these 3 freedom accelerators to become financially free in as little as 6 months. I mean, gazelles, that's what they do. They get their first deal under contract in about 6 months. The average purchase price is $4 million because they leverage these 3 freedom accelerators. The size of that first deal is often big enough for them to become financially free and focus full-time on growing their portfolios. Here's what I mean, right? So acquisition fee is typically 3% of the purchase price. So a $4 million deal means that the acquisition fee is $120,000. So if they have a partner, they're going to split 120 grand. That gives them $60,000 each. If their monthly living expenses are, say, $10,000 per month, this gives them a 6-month runway. Now, maybe they have some extra savings to extend that runway to 12 months. And in addition to having the runway, they often have a second or third deal in their pipeline that's likely to close in the next few months. Law of the first deal. And that gives them the confidence to leave their W-2 job or their practice and focus full-time on investing. So the lesson is learn from the gazelles and leverage the 3 freedom accelerators. Follow a proven system. Don't reinvent the wheel. Get the right support. Ask for help. Surround yourself with people who can help you in the right way. And then join the right network so that you have access to capital and deals. And if you do that, then closing your first deal could make you financially free in as little as 6 months. All right, let's put it all together. Now imagine a quarterback calling for the next play in the huddle, describing exactly where everyone should go and what they should do. The team's fired up, they break on 3 and then head back to their bench. Well, that's not how I want this ebook to end for you, okay? I mean, if you're excited, you're ready to go and then you do nothing, what's the point of that? And I already told you that 90% of people who read a book or attend a seminar never do anything. And I can't let that happen to you. So I want to summarize what you'll learn very quickly, and I'm going to share with you my recommended 90-day plan and leave you with a cool life hack that will let you accomplish any major goal you want to do. So if there's one thing I want you to remember in this training, okay, it's this thing. And that is the one thing for achieving financial freedom with real estate is to focus on your first multifamily deal. If I can boil financial freedom down to just one thing, it's your first deal. Focus all your efforts on getting your first deal done because I already know that the second and third deal will follow automatically because of the law of the first deal, which says the first multifamily deal of any size results in financial freedom within 1 to 3 years. You also know the 3 truths about apartment building investing. You don't need experience. We talked about that. You don't need your own money, and you only need 1 deal because of the law of the first deal. We talked about the 7 steps of the deal maker blueprint of financial freedom. Clarify your vision, get clear on that, get connected to a community, get the skills, get your education, work the system, practice in a safe environment, then build your pipeline. Consistency is key. Then you will, step number 6, close your deal. And step number 7, achieve financial freedom all by itself. So if you want to become financially free in as little as 6 months, then do what gazelles do and leverage the 3 freedom accelerators, which is to follow the right system, get the right support, and join the right network. So I hope by now you can see how to get started with apartment buildings today, right now, even if you don't have any previous experience or your own cash, because you now know which skills to focus on and you have the step-by-step roadmap to follow. And I hope you understand by now the power of investing in apartment buildings as the only way to become financially free with real estate. And now your mission becomes very simple. Focus like a laser on your first deal. Now let's leave you with an actionable plan. I'm an actionable guy, former software engineer. Next 90 days, here's what I want you to do to keep the momentum from this training and to get you from the huddle into the playing field. Your 90-day action plan. So I'm a former software engineer, so I prefer a more systematic approach to doing things. And I found that most people prefer it as well because it takes the guesswork out of what to do next. That's why I created the Deal Maker Blueprint, a step-by-step system for closing your first deal. So the first 4 steps of the blueprint will take about 90 days to complete. So let's use it as a roadmap to guide your next step. So in the first week, you're going to go back to the clarify your vision step and develop a clear vision of what financial freedom looks like and why it's important to you. That's week number 1. In week number 2, get connected, right? With other people who support you. Focus on getting connected because now this step may take longer in a week, but it's absolutely important that you start with that by talking to your spouse, looking for good online communities to connect to. We'd love to have you in our Facebook group or even in our Dealmaker Mastermind. This is a good time to start looking for a mindset coach, a mentor. Make a list of people you know, ask in the community or search online. Again, we'd love to have an opportunity to talk to you about working with you on your journey. Just go to themichaelblank.com/call and schedule a call with us to explore working with us. Remember, getting connected is freedom seller number 2. So work on this until you have the right support in place. So weeks 3 to 8 is get the skills. You have several weeks there to complete this in the next 6 weeks. So find some education. Continue your education and find some kind of course that you really resonate with. And then once you've gotten some training, okay, in week number 4 is to clarify your first deal, pick your target market, the size of your market. And then once you've done with that, analyze 5 deals. That's in week 5. Okay, week 5 is analyze deals. Week 6 is complete the sample deal package. And then you got 2 weeks to recruit your property manager and lender. And the objective, get the still step, is to learn. Okay, so getting knowledge and get some skills, but you also want your team ready to go so that you can work the system, which is the next step. So in weeks 9 to 12, you're going to work the system. Okay, so that's kind of the next step. And it's all about two things: analyzing at least one deal per week, making an offer, an informal one, and contacting 5 potential investors so you can have one conversation. So remember that this step is all about taking tiny action and not about results necessarily. So work the system for about 5 hours per week. That's 1 hour a day. And you'll be amazed at how your confidence increases. That's it. That's really the first 90 days right now, because once you have some knowledge and you have some skills, okay, you'll be able to speak with some level of confidence with brokers and investors, and you're going to have the team ready to go. And now you're what I call deal ready. Okay, that's like the first 90 days is to be deal ready, because the next step is to build your pipeline. That's where you continue analyzing deals, making offers, and speaking with investors. And if you do that, your first deal is only a matter of time. Conclusion and next steps. So I hope you enjoyed this training, this ebook, and opened your eyes to the possibility of getting started with multifamily investing, regardless of your previous experience or financial resources. And I wanted to quickly introduce myself. If you don't know who I am, my name is Michael Blanc, and I'm a full-time entrepreneur, investor, and coach, and I really love helping others become financially free by investing in apartment buildings with a special focus on raising money. Our investment company, we not just teach people, we actually do it ourselves. Our investment company is called Nighthawk Equity. We control over $350 million in multifamily assets. But like I said, I love teaching people. We've helped hundreds of people do their first deal, purchase over 41,000 units valued at $1.4 billion because we track this kind of stuff. I'm the author of the Amazon bestseller, Financial Freedom with Real Estate Investing, and host of the popular apartment investing podcast by the same name, Financial Freedom with Real Estate Investing. And as I told you before, I kind of consider myself the crash test dummy of financial freedom. And I've tried all kinds of stuff from software to restaurants, trading options and flipping houses. And so this is why I know what works and what doesn't. And I also know that flipping houses and wholesaling and landlording is not going to get me to financial freedom. And the only thing that will is apartment buildings. And so we've discovered and had a system for helping you get into apartment buildings without experience or your cash. And we have a system through the Gazelle system we talked about to get you out of your job or your practice in the next 6 months if that's what you want to do. So the question you might have now is, this is great, Michael. What should I do next? And I'm glad you asked, because I wanted to share you my life hack of achieving any major goal in your life. Whatever it is, here's the secret of doing it. Just do the next best 3 things. That's it. No more and no less. Ask yourself, what are the next 3 things you need to do right now to get a step closer to your goal, whatever it is? Now, it could be your first apartment building, but it could be any major goal. Write them down right now and just do it. Most people overanalyze this so much, and it's really quite simple. Everybody knows the next 3 things to do for anything. Write them down and just do those things. Don't worry about the 101 other things you have to do. Just concern yourself with the next 3. Now, this technique works so well because you already know the next 3 things that are going to bring you closer to your goal, and it's not going to overwhelm you because you already know what they are. You can actually see yourself doing them. So write them down and do them. So let's say your goal is to do your first apartment building deal, but you don't have any previous experience. You have about $30,000 of your own money to potentially invest in real estate, but you have no idea how you would raise money from others. Okay, so for example, so should you give up because you don't know all the steps to get there, or should you do the next 3 things? You already know the answer, my friend. Correct. You should do the next 3 things. Well, write them down right now, then do them and repeat. Let's say you do this for 3 months. When you look up to see what you've accomplished, you'll be absolutely amazed at how far you've come. And you'll have built an incredible momentum to keep you going. So now you know some things you didn't know before, okay? You know you don't need real estate experience or your own cash to get started with apartments. You learned that you only need to focus like a laser on just doing your first deal. Because of the law, the first deal will bring the second and third. You'll be financially free. You're now trained on a deal maker blueprint that hundreds of people have used to quit their jobs and have left and have now had the life they've always wanted. And you've learned how you can leverage the freedom accelerators to become financially free in as little as 6 months. It has been a privilege and honor to be able to share some of my experience, and I hope you found it motivated to take action towards apartment buildings and just do the next 3 things. One great thing, if you haven't already, is to join our Facebook group. It's at themichaelblanc.com/group. Love to have you there. Connect with me and hundreds of active investors on your journey to financial freedom. If you want to take the next steps and explore what it's like to work with us, themichaelblank.4/call is the URL for that. Love to have a conversation with you about helping you get to the next level to your success. I'll talk to you next time.